builds to infuriate my brother. Dusty, 8-4, 3rd place. Bifrost, 7-5, 5th place. 1 game apart. Both teams looking to be contenders for EU Masters, for championships. And this is a very important game on that front.
I think it's more important for Bifrost because Ricky just won. They're at 4 wins. Vanir is at 5 wins. They haven't even played yet. They're playing last tonight. And Bifrost are on the edge of falling out of playoffs. They're at 7 wins. X7 is at 6 wins. And their 2 last teams just qualified for these 2 last playoff spots. So right here, it's not even about climbing the ladder, it's about making sure you secure yourself inside these playoffs, and then you can choose to fix whatever problems you have in the regular season in best-of scenarios in playoffs.
So, a bit of a look into this Bifrost comp briefly before I think we might talk about things like Linkas taking the Wukong away to set up some future talking points, but this Bifrost comp is not dissimilar to something that Kongdu Freaks used to stop T1's incredible win streak. When T1 finally lost a series, part of it was off a Seraphine bot lane, and no AD carry, and the Gnar was effectively the AD carry, and you had this kind of pure CC healing monster dive comp that you just couldn't kill through. And it's not a dissimilar vibe to that, and I've seen how this works. And for all it's a little bit different to a standard comp, it's pretty obnoxious.
I think it requires, though, impeccable team fighting. And if you told me Bifrost from Spring, after 25 minutes into the game, I'll tell you impeccable team fighting. This particular Bifrost has not necessarily convinced me enough that they've got the same synergy with the previous roster when it comes to team fightings and only that. So even though this roster, I can see the survivability and all the shielding and the healing and all the zoning tools that they do have, I still see the lack of damage. And I'm waiting also to see what Diamondprox is going to choose on that Bel'Veth as his mythic item, because last time he played the champion, he went towards the chem tank. He wasn't doing enough damage as his team needed, and he also had a little bit of an unorthodox way of playing the champion, right?
Yeah, it was a diamond special where sometimes you just play in a very different way. It's something he's always been famous for. It didn't quite work out as well as they would have liked, though.
It was a level 3 gank bot lane into a level 5 dive in the top lane, which, yes, it did work, but in reality, he did put him behind, and that's the level 3 gank we're talking about.
Backlund gonna have to try and get away from that above as below, forced to flash away, and Diamond will back out having used the Void Surge, and Linkas will not run into the Bel'Veth, but may now look to try and invade on her Raptors. Overcomes Stend nice and early as well, and we've seen this happen before where Bifrost allow Diamond to get invaded incredibly early, but overcomes Highway.
Yeah, Highway is also going to be there, but I still think Diamondprox does not have anywhere inside his jungle, especially because Backlund is leaning towards that side of the map, which means if a 3 versus 3 breaks out, Dusty will have more members. Then Voxne has also been moved because the wave had been shoved in the bot lane, and this is what happens when you stop for a gank.
Might be looking for it, gets handshake. Diamond going to try and surge away, but taken pretty low. Smites onto the Krog, stay alive, and now they're trying to turn this one. Odie is coming over. They'll get a hold of that red buff, and just playing off the lane pressure, this Bel'Veth being put behind. Massive sleep, but can Denvoxy get close enough? And not quite, and actually managed to time that one out very well with the Void Surge.
Right, so a lot of questions, a lot of answers, a lot of talking points. Main ones, though, are the junglers, and for Bifrost, Diamondprox has been a big talking point due to the fact that we're having the legend back in a team in the NLC, and he typically tends to drop a lot of his early game leads, such as experience, gold, yada yada yada, to get his lanes ahead, mainly bot lane. His focus has been bot lane. Now, why we mentioned why the Wukong takeaway was pretty huge is because 83% of Bifrost's wins come from that Wukong. The fact that he gets the proactivity in the early, the fact that he was playing on a much stronger champion, gave Bifrost a lot of their victories. Now, of course, this is a nerfed iteration of Wukong. From what I've heard, his full clear has suffered 6 to 8 seconds, which is pretty massive. But then again, Linkas is a very early game player, a very early aggressive player, and so is Diamondprox. So taking it away from Diamondprox when he has 83% win rate works, because Linkas can also make it work, as we have a 2 versus 2 in the bot lane.
Indeed, and Sten's gonna try and flash that. Won't quite make it work. Highway taken pretty low, but Odie trying to make sure they stay alive. No heals, just have to flash and just gets first blood. That's it, as it works down. Voxne flashes and gets that one. Highway left out to dry, no use of the shield available. And just falls down in 2v2.
Yeah, and even though Seraphine does a bunch of damage later on, whilst his scale, whilst she has a few points in her queue, somebody with auto-attack damage that can walk you down, such as an Aphelios, is going to be much stronger in the early game fights to come, because Renata can also pull out shields and a lot of sustain for her 2v2. So Highway ends up paying, he loses his flash, and he ends up falling down. Now, what does that do? Then Voxner also lost both of his summoners. Stand also doesn't have his flash available, and Diamoprox, even though yes, on a Belva that should technically be farming,
doesn't have any camps up at the minute.
Yeah, he does usually pull these early game ganks.
Does indeed, and he's got Highway with him, looking to maybe try and get something back, especially considering he hasn't got any of those camps, as we've mentioned.
Oh, this is genius. This is genius. You know the support resets. You know he's going to run straight to mid lane.
So smart, and they've got the Mumu there, goes straight over, above, as below and avoid surge or two means Stend has got nowhere to go. He'll bail himself out, but there just isn't enough money in the world to bring that business back from the brink.
That was so freaking clever. The fact that, you know, on the first reset of the support, where do they go? They never go bot lane. They always go and hover around mid lane, trying to look for a gank, and especially since Buckland is missing his flash, of course, Stand would walk mid, trying to cover his mid laner with probably some more vision. Really clever right there from Diamondprox and Highway to camp that bush, get one kill under Diamondprox's belt.
Absolutely, in a way to bring that Belveth back into the game a little bit, especially after some of those early invades came through and really put that Void Empress behind. On the other side, though, of course, Linkas does still have a lot of those camps to farm. He got the additional camps from Diamond Jungle. Is nicely ahead on the Wukong. Nerfs be damned, partly off some good early play from Dusty, as we said. And honestly, this guy in general has been pretty phenomenal, all things said and done. One of our absolute top-performing junglers in the league.
Yeah, and if you look at that, gold at 15, he is first, meaning that junglers such as Stefan or Dan are right behind him when it comes to gathering that gold early into the game. But he is below them when it comes to damage per minute, but still being third on a team that is not third in the standings. It's pretty outstanding, which means that Dusty really heavily rely on the jungler to make these plays in the early game.
And, you know, call it out as well, Bifrost Performance Coast actually said, look, the player I would most like to work with who's not on my team is Linkas. I really rate this guy, so a lot of respect coming over from their opposition even in this game. So certainly a player to keep our eyes on, and has managed to certainly get some individual advantages off those early plays. About 600, 700 gold lead right now to the side of Dusty, largely off said plays, and have to see how it translates as we head towards something like a Rift Herald spawn in 10 seconds or so.
Again, also, we didn't mention the fact that you've got 3 priority lanes for Dusty. So usually a Belveth wants to stay in her jungle, she wants to farm, she wants to be stacking that attack speed every time she kills a creep in the jungle. But what Dusty did to disrupt that is they drafted 3 priority lanes and managed to invade with that purpose. Zoe out pushes an Ahri. You've got Camille, who always has kill potential onto a Na, especially if he's mini Na. Now Bifrost have gone all the way towards the top side of the map to try and defend. Highway's only level 4.
Down to 2,000, they can make this happen. They're going to try and get in with that bandage toss. I don't know who took that one. Linkas has popped. The Cyclone looking to try and secure the eye, does so. Curb goes down though. Will get reset though with the bailout. They killed off Highway as the Glacial Augment died. And now Odie's going to come over. We'll have level 6. So there's an encore available. Gonna miss, not quite enough range on it. And that means the turnaround from Bifrost just isn't quite enough. And Dusty get out with a kill and the Herald.
Oh, that was so dangerous. You see Highway walks in, level 4 into a level 7 Camille from Kerberos. Kerberos gets bailed out by the Renata as well during the fight. Let's see this again. This is right now a 4 versus 2. Highway overextends. He's all alone, only has 2 team members right there, and Dusty destroy him as a 5-man unit towards the top side of the map. Then Voxner is there first, which means they have numbers advantage, and the bailout was very clutch to actually save Kerberos. That flash away from Buckland actually saved everyone here, because had it hit Buckland, it would have hit everyone behind him as well.
That was so close. Maybe if Fury had managed to flash or have a Spirit Rush just enough off cooldown to get another charge across, maybe that would have been enough to extend it. Alas, wasn't there. Now Denvoxney with 2 kills to his name, including that first blood down bot side. They've got Herald in inventory as well, and Bifrost in a pretty tricky position early on, down a fair amount of gold and early pressure. But of course, Fury gets away with it in the mid lane, but just about lands on the edge of that sleep. But Backlund will be able to get close enough. Fury, with the reset available, will likely take this opportunity to go back to base.
And I think the story is the same, because if you look at that, Fury is about 10 CS down. Now he lost that 3 creeps experience and gold from underneath his tower. He has to back out. He needs to wait for his HP and mana to regen a little bit before he TPs back into this tower. This allows Linkers to actually walk into that river first. He also has Kerberos there, which will secure him another Scuttle Crab. And I know this is not necessarily huge, but the more victories you get on the map, the more farm you take away from the Bel'Veth, the more you delay her scaling.
Absolutely, and you know, fortunately for Fury, this is a guy who will Backlund left lane twice to go bot lane, to go down to the jungle, and still down in that CS. That's credit to Backlund, honestly, for playing the lane and the wave states very well, who's had a massive glow up since spring.
Talking about credit to Backlund, I think I completely 100% of 50 agree with you.
Yeah.
I think if any player developed massively from spring to summer, that is Backlund. And that says a lot about Dusty and how they believe in their players. Because when the restructure happened, everyone was replaced except Backlund.
Yeah.
Backlund remained the only player that the team was built around, and had it been an insane glow up from spring, his Yasuo 2 games has to be banned on first rotation, because guess what? He hasn't died on any
took
game.
4 bans.
On a champion that plays in your face as a melee squishy.
Yep.
He's Yone, insane. He's LeBlanc, 3 solo kills in lane. The guy commands the laning phase, but is also a menace when it comes to team fights.
And especially considering we had a lot of expectations of this guy coming into spring. And then, honestly, kind of underperformed for a lot of it. Had a bit of a rough split. And then coming into summer, this one remaining player, a lot of faith put into this guy, as you were saying. And now landing bubbles like this with the Heralds coming through, and Fury chunked out to half HP as this Herald's about to come crashing down, and all the plates that will be going down with it. And Backlund, well and truly in a phenomenal position, a formidable position heading into the mid-game of this game 3.
And if we can very quickly toggle to gold, I think Backlund might be very close to his
what do you know?
Ludens. Yeah, he's so close to Ludens Echo. He's about 140 gold
Angle
short.
here, Diamond's going to go over. The above is below, forced to flash out a Stend. And now with 3 seconds until this Mountain Drake, Diamond with the Void Surge to get for the forwards may need to flash here. The Cyclone's coming through, and now they're actually going to try and turn this one. The hostile takeover only lands onto the Amumu.
That's 3 ultimates gone for Dustin. They're important ultimates, everything up for Bifrost. If anything, this is their fight to take.
Will they be able to land that paddle star, though? Not quite in range, and Fury starting to help forward, does miss the charm, and this will now be the 5v5. Everyone available to try and make those happen, as Backlund is the one throwing out the poke. Diamond down to about half HP. Dragon also down to that level.
Okay, Backlund is their only tool to try and keep Bifrost away. Poking them down means they can't push
So low on
too
the mana,
far.
though. How does Dem Vox, I apologize, secure that? AD carry gets that one down. Kerberos back over the wall, and Dusty get away with a second dragon, despite Smite's apparently not coming through on that one.
I think Bifrost were very hesitant there. All 3 major ultimates from the side of Dusty were already used. This is your go button to actually make something happen. If you're Bifrost, you've got a Momo ult, Seraphine ult, Ari ult, Gnar ult. You've got all the ults available to you to make that big wombo combo and shut people down. But the fact that Backlund kept poking through that wall meant that everyone was not healthy enough to actually commit into a 5 versus 5 fight. Yet again, Backlund coming in clutch with the positioning, putting down the poke, commanding the side of River to the point where, yes, the Voxner takes the dragon, but hey, he's also playing for Dusty, so we take those.
Absolutely, and let's be real, like, Backlund there was on about 10% mana, but he'd done his work. Like, the health bars were too low, and the contest was good enough to secure that kill. And we've got ourselves a Ludens completed by Backlund. Thank you, Trouble, for pointing that one out. And we're in a position where Dusty are up a healthy amount of gold, about 1,500. But, you know, Bifrost is very much still in this game. Once their mythics come through, as they have now just about come in, they weren't there for that dragon fight, maybe they'll feel a bit happy to contest with something like the next dragon or the next herald, because I feel that will be the moment, or he's just going to walk away from them this game.
Yeah, and again, next herald is just about to spawn right as you mentioned, and Bifrost have already accounted for it.
Here we go.
Kerberos in the bot lane, Highway home, my god.
Diamond's going to get the above below, thinking about going forwards. Highway gets in for the curse of the sad moment, but is very left alone. Linka's taken pretty down low, but now maybe the turnaround can come through. Linkaz over the wall, does surely go down. He He's not going to get bailed out at all. Sten left to go down as well. 2 kills over to Bifrost, and the team fights are in, and Diamond Prox ascends. The true monstrous form is available, and now there is that devastating, absolutely monstrous Belveth Herald push available to Bifrost. They are running their hands with glee.
No.
Oh my days. Huge knock up with the above as below. He's still alive though because of Severim, and Kerberos secures the kill. How did Bifrost not secure that?
Oh my god, so it is Linkus overreaching into a small choke point, then Bifrost win, Diamond Prox is ready, he has his form, he can take the Herald down really quickly, then he overextends, trying to find then Voxnet with the heal and the Severum just about survives. If he didn't have that gun available to him, he would have fallen prey to Diamond Prox, and as we will see this again, you do not want to fight in a choke point versus a Mumu, versus Seraphine, and versus Ari, because the skill shot will hit exactly, and there will be devastating. So the Amumu ult goes down onto 3 people. And yes, even though you managed to kill Highway, you losing your jungler right here, which means you're losing your tool to do the Rift Herald. Meanwhile, you also have Sten, who's overextended onto the Renata, ends up going down. That's a 4 versus 3, but then Kerberos jumps in. We have another fight, and Bifrost seems to be sandwiched here.
Diamond does get the knock up on Kerberos, who's got no flash, so he's going to go straight down, and Diamond will ascend once more. Definitely a little angry about getting picked off the last time. Of course, Den Voxing with no flash, no ultimate, and no cleanse. Cannot step up here. Herald secured, and there it is, the true form of Belveth. They'll try and shove in with a Herald somewhere, you have to imagine. The Void Remora will be circling around as well.
One more auto will do it, though. Mid lane will fall, so the amount of time that Bifrost actually used to take that Rift Herald needs to net them at least a tower right now. Because if it doesn't, it means they have actually wasted a lot of time to take it. And Dusty...
The knock up, the teleport's coming through. Odie's going to come down. He's a little bit late. Highway going to be left out to dry. Will get knocked up, but Diamond tries to get in. Can't quite make it because, of course, the hostile takeover makes his life incredibly difficult. And Odie only now turns up. He's too late to be a part of this play. And as a result, 2 members fall from Bifrost. They tried to make the Herald play.
They can catch Odie as well. There is a hook shot. Very nice low.
Oh, good encore, but it's still not going to be quite enough, as it's well timed by Kerberos to buffer their way through. Gets the kill, and they get a kill onto Odie.
Kerberos has been the silent force on the side lane this entire time. He joins 2 team fights, suddenly Dusty wins 2 team fights. He's such a big nuisance and a problem, because even though everyone is trying to zone Linkus away from entering the fight, from getting that big knock-up and CC, nobody has any CC left to throw onto that Camille. And again, we mentioned that if Bifrost don't get a tower, the time invested for the Herald is not worth it. They try to overreach, they try to pressure down, the TP comes in from Kerberos from the flank, and Dusty have their ultimates back up and available, which is why they're able to chase Bifrost away and take a shutdown, if I'm not wrong as well, onto Diamond Prox.
It was a pretty close one. Odie was a little too late, and this play is just a bit frustrating. The encore comes off court, and Odie thought he managed to interrupt it, hadn't quite. And as a result, 2 members die for Bifrost. They don't manage to get that much out of the Herald, despite the amount of shenanigans that went on around it. Dusty find themselves at Soul Point at 18 minutes, and they're well and truly in control of this game.
I would just like to point out here that Den Voxne has been in more kills. He's participated in more kills than anyone in his team.
Yes.
I do not necessarily know how your marksman has participated in more
solo
kills in general, playing Aphelios out of anything in more kills than anyone else. He's almost has 100% kill participation. Almost.
So it's the phrase, the particular stat of the day, apparently. And speaking of things of the day, let's have a look. That's some more of that hashtag NLC pet. Indeed, a very good boy. That bow tie is exquisite.
He's one best boy, not just a good boy. I love the ears as well.
Just a little bit floppy.
A little bit. I love floppy ears on dogs. It's so cute.
So there's actually some fun thing. If you domesticate animals, they often end up with floppier ears. So foxes, if you domesticate them, end up with floppy ears eventually. There's some weird thing around when you breed animals for domestication. They end up with, it hits a part of the brain which also affects things like ears, apparently. There's a whole thing about it. There you go.
Wow, thank you for chiming into my documentary in the future.
Yeah, I've got fun facts for you to fill out like multiple games.
I might invite you as a guest.
I'm flattered. Big charm onto Linkas actually into the bandage, but Highway's been a little bit overeager, I think it's fair to say, on this Amumu. 0-4-4 has not really had the game on this champion I think he was hoping for.
100% kill participation, just saying.
So is Diamond, for that matter, actually. Just saying that one. But, like, again, we are in this game with a stat that's becoming increasingly nonsensical. But alas, Dusty, with the outer towers down, looking to shove in and get that final one in the top side with a Severum and a Crescendum, that feels like fairly easy work for the
Also, this is a little bit of 180 from the previous game, because in the previous game, the teams could not necessarily be on the sidelines due to the nature of the comps and missing teleports, right? But in this particular one, you can. You have the Camille with the teleport, you can shove a side lane, you can actually threaten both the Ahri and the Gnar at this point with how strong the Camille is on the side lane, which means that Dusty can right now play the macro. You see that Kerberos is in the mid lane, whilst they have made sure that the top lane is all warded. So then Voxnay, their marksman, can push on his own and cash in on the money on his own. So solo money, more in his pocket, 2 items now on the Aphelios. You pointed out the Medjais.
Let's say Nymera somewhere is affecting everyone right now, apparently. By the book becomes a mantra, and somehow he's mind-controlling the league into picking up that particular item.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm not mind control, you pointed it out.
I did. I just started because, like, oh, how has this happened again? Of course, it is Backland, who's having a very good game thus far on the Zoe 005.
If you're not gonna down the Yasuo, what are the chances you're gonna down the Zoe?
Indeed. Been playing very well on the champion so far. Continuing to be a bit of a menace around those objectives in particular. And we've got about 2 minutes or so until the next round, which of course will be Sol for Dusty comes up. And Baron is on the table, but I think right now we do have that little bit of breathing room before the next bit of action kicks off, unless someone really mispositions, shall we say.
I'm looking at the inventory of Kerberos,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing Garden Angel in the making,
That's
potentially.
Basically saying, I want to go in and sacrifice my life.
Exactly, and I really love this about Kerb, because they are only 1 dragon away, 1:40 away from the next dragon. This could mean if you do ace this fight, if you do give up your fake life with the GA,
he's in a lot of trouble. And there's a Moonlight Vigil coming through, has got a stopwatch, does not have the option to go away quite yet. Flash has got the ult as well and does get out to safety. But what happens in the mid lane is Diamond's actually been caught out trying to get away with this one as well. Has got the flash, yet to use it now, trying to get out. Still about alive. Will get taken up by the battle star though.
And look, instant ping on the Baron. That's what I was trying to allude to. The fact that you have GA and you want to fight later on means that you can overextend, win a fight because you overextended with GA, and then turn it really quickly into a Baron. Why a Baron? Because you have Aphelios, one of the champions that are notoriously known for taking neutral objectives really quickly. Right here, Bifrost though are going to split. They're not attacking mid lane, they're not attacking Baron. Yes, that mid lane tower is going to end up going down because Dusty is going to back here. But I'm seeing a lot of split decision making on the side of Bifrost. Fury trying to flank, not working. Diamond Prox overextending to push in the wave all alone, gets caught and dies. 35 seconds as well from Dusty. This is why they sacrificed the mid lane tower, because they're going to have the push with the Baron. They had the evolved backs as well, so they're going to get faster onto the map to go for that dragon, which is going to spell soul for them. And slowly but surely, there's a 4,000 gold creeping in for Dusty, and the items tell the story. Guardian Angel also purchased for Kerberos.
And it's such a difficult one. Fury gets caught. Bifrost tried to defend their mid laner and end up getting punished even more for it. And with the map control falling away from them as it stands, honestly, ever since the early shove in mid and bot that forced that invade onto the Raptors, it's been a very difficult game, and Dusty have really played with their lane pressure exceptionally well in this game.
Also, since you mentioned about the composition and how was played in the LCK,
Hook onto Backland, has still got the flash, may not need to use it though, as they try to get the hook. And won't be able to finish that one up.
Can't
just
lose the stacks now, initialize.
No, I know. Will be a bounty available to them as they're going to get a hold of this tier 2 in the top side. So actually a fair amount of gold that comes back. But on the other side, Kerbs gets the tier 2 down there, so at least traded out. But Soul was skewed by Dusty.
And look in the mid lane as well. You have then Voxnay pushing in. Linkas is on the side as well. He needs to make sure to not get caught.
Big Rouge, Shikari's about to hit Mega. This could be really problematic. Has to flash away. Encore goes wide though, and now Kerbs into the backside. And it's a 2v4. But over the Walk of Fury, massive charm. Can't quite secure it. It's already 2 dead, both the Gnar and the Seraphine down as Diamond Prox tries to get onto them Foxy, but they can't quite get close enough. All the while, Linkas and Kerberos will secure the rest, and Bifrost tried to collapse and get collapsed on in turn. Dusty demolished Bifrost.
They have Baron. Look at the death time. It's 40 Fury, 27. They can actually try to possibly even finish the game or take double inhibitor. The TP is going to be called by Kerberos. They could end right here, right now. This is one of the fastest games of the day.
Absolutely out of nowhere, the game is done. Minions, Severum, Crescendum, and a very swift game from Dusty. The disconnect there over the last couple plays punished Bifrost, and they melt to the might of Dusty.
And our analyst desk said it as well. The skill level, the skill ceiling of this Dusty lineup